Pride 2025, the big thing on everybody's minds right now, especially as we're about to see, there have been kind of already some incidents that, while not conclusively, seem incredibly motivated by homophobia or transphobia. And these are going around. We will be talking about some of them. And it brings me to the idea of safety at Pride and how, if you are planning to go to Pride, because every year I get new people saying, hey, I want to go to Pride. What are your tips? What should I do? I'm worried about going alone. That kind of stuff. So I want to kind of talk through the logistics of Pride, going to Pride in a group, how you can personally stay safe, who you should get in contact with to stay safe, what you should look out for, and just try and help spread some quality information that will keep people safe and focus on community engagement at Pride. Because more than ever, I think this year, we need to be looking out for each other. This is from a company called Range, which operates here in Spokane, and it is a left-leaning community organizational. Yeah, no, I saw the Greenblatt thing. It is a left-leaning community organizing group that has done a lot of decent organizational work around town. Like, they aren't the PSL, right? But they've done a fair amount, and I'd argue they've actually maybe done a little bit more than the PSL. One of the things they talked about, and this is from an article last year, and I wanted to kind of go over these points and expand on them with my personal experience, not just from protests, but also Pride. And also, as I'm going through, I want to answer any questions the chat might have, because I think we can probably expand a lot from there. Their first tip from Kate Bitts, a program manager for Western State Center, an organization that monitors extremist movements, told Range that attending in a group helps everyone stay safer in any type of festival setting. Quote, it's always good to use the buddy system. Bring friends, be in a group chat with those friends, and make sure you're keeping track of each other. So he suggested setting a meeting point that everyone can rendezvous at if the group gets separated and a phone gets lost or dies. To me, this kind of stuff, there's two halves to it, right? Like, this is common sense, like they were saying, for any festival setting. It doesn't matter if you're going to a concert. It doesn't matter if you're going to an amusement park. This is just a good idea to have. But also in terms of community defense. If you have a friend at work who's an ally, who might be a cis person, but is cool with you. If you have a friend at school who you think might be going alone, this is the time where before you go, you have a plan to squad up to make sure that if you are going for a full day, you know how to stay in contact. And there are so many little things that go along with this that I want people to keep in mind. If you really are going and you are fearing that there are going to be a lot of protests, a lot of backlash, depending on the part of the country you're in, if you are more in the Midwest or the South, you'll probably want to just to be safe, bring a medical kit. I know so many people who go, the first thing they think of is to bring a weapon, right? Like, oh, I'm going to Pride. I'm bringing my steel toe boots. I'm going to Pride. I have brass knuckles. I've seen people in the chat talking about how not to bring knives. Any weapon plans, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, should be so far down the list from the levels of preparation you should be doing before that. Because if you, even subliminally, if the first thing you're prioritizing to bring to Pride is a weapon, then you are going to all bystanders, and probably to yourself, you are going looking for a fight. And that is not what anybody needs. There may be protesters at the event, but event organizers ask that attendees do not engage with protesters and instead focus on having a good, safe time. If we are being real, the most protests you will probably get is a bunch of homophobic street preachers saying that, holding up signs saying slurs are going to burn in hell. Most people's experience with Pride and protesting at Pride, that'll be it. And the police will have them cordoned off across the road, probably. At worst, one of them might come walking through somewhere with a megaphone. And these are things that you are easily able to ignore, and you should. Do not give them the satisfaction of taking away for a singular moment the happiness you should have of being out and celebrating the resilience, the strength of your community and your role in it. They do not deserve the satisfaction of distracting you from that. And that's important to keep in mind. Most organizations are going to tell you this exact thing. Do not engage with protesters. Leave them the fuck alone. Volunteers from Peace and Justice Action League will be present at the park, and this is for Spokane. If you witness a situation that could be helped with de-escalation, like someone aggressively filming attendance, you can call the command center. So these are things that, so this is localized to Spokane. However, most big cities and most big groups, especially these kind of organizing bodies, will have numbers you can call. They will have volunteers. They will have their own security, not just the police wandering around doing whatever. This is going to be mid-June for a lot of places, so it's already starting to heat up. There are going to be volunteers all around, handing out waters, handing out flyers, handing out brochures, giving away free t-shirts and stickers and shit, making sure people aren't fainting from the heat, making sure people get even sunscreen or snacks or whatever, right? Again, festival setting, there are always these things. So it is on you as an attendee to keep track of that information and know how to engage with it. While it may be tempting to bring personal protection equipment because of increased tensions and threats, Bits said that can actually make situations more dangerous. Quote, "There is no faster way to pepper spray a bunch of people who are on your side than just pull out your pepper spray in a crowd. Do not do that. If you end up," and this is maybe the most important thing I'm going to say here, if you do end up deciding to carry some kind of personal protection device, make sure it is something you feel comfortable and experienced using. Quote, "If you have not practiced with whatever it is, do not bring it." I see people talking about tasers. I see people talking about knives. Do not bring a knife to Pride. Do you go look up some statistics on how knife fights go for people who bring out knives? I'm going to give you a hint. Not great. Not great. Do we need to have the great bat versus knife debate? Do we need to reiterate the Giant Bomb Grand Classic, bat versus knife? And when it seems like you are there to start a fight, no matter how much you want to say that, oh, you're just there to in case anything happens. When other people see people, not with a gun, but with a bat, with a pipe, with any of that shit, they will take that as an invitation to scuffle. Now, this is also the same to consider with guns. There is a wonderful saying, armed queers bash back. And I find that to be incredibly true. If you are not prepared, if you are not firearm trained, you have no business bringing any firearm anywhere in public. That being said, if you or somebody you know, Elena McLaughlin is a great example of somebody I would trust to carry a assault rifle to Pride. I would. Because I know she has not only good trigger discipline, but a lot of training. She is somebody who understands the gravity of what actually defense is implied by holding a weapon like that in public. And I think a lot of people don't. I want to be incredibly clear. I do not think being armed is a bad thing. I think being armed and unprepared is a bad thing. If you decide, or somebody around you decides that you are carrying a gun to Pride, which again, there are going to be Pride celebrations in this country where the people across the road from you, the protesters that the police are defending, they're going to be brandishing firearms too, as a display of intimidation. I have nothing wrong with queer people doing the same to show that we are unafraid. But like I said at the beginning, any show of force, any show of resilience, of fire with fire, needs to be tempered first and foremost by an understanding of what that show implies, and more importantly, that you need to be taking care of people well before that. If you or somebody you know is carrying a firearm, they damn well better be carrying a first aid kit. They damn well better know how to apply a tourniquet. They damn well better have several bottles of water in their bag too. Because if you are not there to help anybody who needs it, you are just there for fighting. And nobody needs it. Man to a Maker 2, I know bottles of water need to be factory sealed when going to Denver Pride. All bottles of water should be factory sealed. Like any event, doesn't matter what it is. If when you are handed a bottle of water, if it is not from a family member or a friend or somebody you know personally and it is opened, do not drink it. Again, some of these things aren't necessarily strictly to Pride. This is just a festival rule. Like, this is just like, you follow that shit if you go to a concert in an arena. Follow that shit if you go to a music festival. Like, that's common sense here. What is factory sealed? So when you know, I don't have a bottle around me to show you, but you know the little ring when you twist a cap and it makes that snapping sound? Factory sealed is when those two, the ring and the cap, are still attached. From the San Antonio Report, armed protesters' supporters outside all ages drag show remain largely peaceful. Allies grew to more than 150 people as the evening progressed, playing music, dancing, and chanting to drown out those who massed across the street to protest the show about to go on inside. One of the reasons I wanted to call attention to this and to talk about this with everybody is to spread awareness of these things, spread awareness of what to look out for, because I feel there is this sinking feeling we all have after spending the last 6 months being so specifically targeted, especially trans people, by this administration. And now opening with a hate crime murder of a famous voice actor. And another viral post about a trans woman just being walloped, just hit in the head. You never want the worst to happen at events like these. And I genuinely, sincerely hope everybody gets to go out and have a fun time, especially people who are getting to experience this kind of community event for the first time. But to be truly community-minded, safety needs to be everybody's primary concern. And that's not just for you, but everybody around you, everybody next to you. And that's not even talking about, like, I feel, even in my head, the worst thing is what you catastrophize, right? Like the worst thing you can think of would be like a mass casualty event of some kind. But I'm not even talking about that. On a much smaller scale, if there is somebody you see who's in a line for food or something, and it looks like they might have heat stroke, you should have a water bottle that you can give out freely. You should have 2 or 3. If you have somebody who, again, like, oh, they passed out or they fainted, somebody, you know, I don't know, cut their hand serving a kebab or whatever, and they passed out from the sight of blood, you should know somebody. You should have that mom friend on call. Be like, hey, I need a granola bar stat to hook somebody up with. Little acts of community kindness like that are what bring the queer community together. It is ultimately what Pride is all about. Looking out for each other, not just in spite of our differences, but because of our differences. A handful of armed people dressed in all black with their faces mostly covered stood on the pro-LGBTQ community side of St. Mary's Street, rainbow scarves tied to their tactical gear. Most didn't respond to a reporter, but one confirmed that members of the John Brown Gun Club, a leftist right group, were in attendance. All right. So this is another thing. These wonderful, wonderful examples of humanity are doing what I like to call good OPSEC. If you are going to be visible, especially like this, if you are standing on quite literally a front line between the pro-LGBTQ plus side and the absolute dipshits who will try to intimidate, harass, or even assault them. These kind of allies, or maybe queer folks themselves, are literally the first line of defense. But that also means that they're going to be some of the first people targeted. And I'm not talking about in the event of an actual scuffle or any violence. I am talking about the fact that you will have little dipshit bloggers and little 4chan freaks who will try to find who they are and try to dox them. If you are not just going to be one in the crowd, if you decide that you want to engage with the community, that you want to help keep people safe, make sure your face is covered. You will notice they are wearing basically indistinguishable outfits, completely black. This is where the term black bloc comes from, by the way. Faces covered. No distinguishing marks. No visible tattoos. All the way down to completely indistinguishable, just black boots. This is the correct way. If you want to go in tack gear, if you are going with a group like this, a group that is well organized, that is not full of, people who are just looking for a fight, who are there for community defense, this is how you do it. Yeah, watch for shoes. The amount of people who get identified based on shoes is bonkers. Oh, somebody was saying, doesn't dressing like this imply a threat? No. Because if you are standing across the street, if you have protesters, the people who are coming and are on the side that is waving flags saying that, queers deserve to die and burn in hell, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, the classics, When you see people like that bringing their guns and tack gear to Pride, it is a threat. They are there to threaten people, to make them feel weaker than. And the people who show up like this, who are responsible first and foremost, are there to let them know that we will not be threatened so easily. That we will not be threatened without a fight. That whatever fire they can throw at us, we can fight back with. I would honestly say that, you shouldn't even be carrying a loaded weapon. Bring magazines, bring clips. But I genuinely don't think most people should be carrying their weapons loaded in public. It all comes down to, at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to common sense. If you are going to a Pride event, your first concern should be everybody around you and the safety of everybody around you. It should be a time to have a lot of fun. It should be a time to go out and dance and get drunk with friends, safely, of course. Nobody drink and drive. You should have fun. You deserve to have fun. Everybody. Yeah, Kiwi TP, that's actually a really good way to put it. Having fun is your protest. It is so important to keep in mind the intersectionality of our communities and how they overlap. How people of color overlap with the trans community. How trans people of color are often targeted for more violence. These things are important to keep in mind, not just to throw out platitudes on social media, not just to retweet and share stuff when it comes across our feed, but so that we can recognize when things happen around us, how we can intervene to help the situation. This is another important thing that I think a lot of people need to realize. If you know for a fact that you are not good under pressure, then you need to step back, remove yourself from the situation, and find another role. It is important. Another thing that happens, for example, somebody was bringing up filming earlier. Filming is incredibly important. If there is somebody who you think might start an altercation, if there is somebody trying to incite violence, if they have one or two people already trying to get them out of a venue, trying to shuffle them along, trying to move them away, you don't need to inject yourself into that. Look around, see what other roles need to be filled. Are there multiple people filming them in case anything does go wrong? If not, you better pull out your phone. Did anybody get hurt? Did anybody get punched? Does somebody need water? Does somebody need a bandage? Find where you fit to help people who need it most. My hope is that everybody stays as safe as possible. My hope is that you and nobody you know, and that my hope is that you do not go looking for fights, that you are smart when faced with adversity, that you don't think about your own ego, that you are not goaded into conflict, because you have to consider the safety of everybody around you. The things you do, they don't just reflect on you at Pride. Like, I do not want any of you to be out here saying some shit that gets put on libs of TikTok for the next 6 months. I want everybody to go to Pride. I want you to have fun. But if you do, you need to go in groups. You need to stay in contact. You need to have somebody in your group. If you're going in a group of 3 or more, you should have one person who has at least a basic medical kit, water, and granola bars, and sunscreen. Do not forget sunscreen. Those are the big things. Medical kit, water, granola bars, sunscreen. And you need to put that in a bag and make sure you have access to it at all time before anybody says any shit about, oh, I'm bringing steel-toed boots. Oh, I'm bringing a switchblade. Oh, I'm bringing, like, all that shit, put it in the bag. You need to make sure that you have a way to contact event organizers if anything happens. And you need to keep your head on a swivel to keep an eye out for anything genuinely suspicious. It is not about being irrational. It is not about being afraid. Because we shouldn't be. When we have each other's backs, we don't need to be afraid. But to get to that point, we do need to be prepared. To that end, I hope you all stay prepared, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time at Pride this year. It sounds like all Pride is a battlefield. No. You are more likely, here's the reason I'm talking about sunscreen, water bottles, granola bars. Not because it's a battlefield, it's because you're more likely to come across somebody who sprains their ankle than any actual violent incident. You're more likely to come across somebody who has heat stroke, who might be getting faint because they haven't eaten all day. Like, these are the other aspects of this kind of festival celebration that a lot of people are forgetting, is that like Pride here, an outdoor Pride celebration, an all-day event, you're talking about 7-8 hours maybe of walking around in the sun. Now, this is the conversation nobody wants to have, but we're going to have it anyway, because we don't shy away. This is not an echo chamber. We don't shy away like a weak-ass cuck liberal from Kink at Pride discourse. My read on it, a lot of Pride events have designated 18 and over areas, sections. There are some wonderful, oh God, I'm looking forward to it because there's some great booths from local adult stores, not like skeevy ones, like actually good ones, that are always at Pride. And I love supporting local businesses like that. That being said, those are usually kind of quarantined away from where the rest of everybody is going to be. I do not like yucking anybody's yum. I want to say that up front. That being said, I feel it is a mostly pretty well accepted, even amongst queer people, there should be no explicit nudity in a place where children might see it. And mind you, I am not saying kink gear, because those are not the same things. Like, somebody wearing a pup mask might be odd to explain to a child, but it's not nudity. You can easily say that's dress up. You can easily say, oh, there's furries, and you'll learn about them when you get older. Like, pup masks, don't care. Most leather gear, I don't care. Like, you can just chalk it up. If you can easily explain it to a child, I don't really care about it. There should be no explicit nudity, and that includes butt cheeks. All right? There's going to be a lot of people who want to wear chaps out. Don't do it during the day celebration. If you are going to Pride, here's the other fucking thing. If you're going to a Pride celebration, I guarantee that night there's going to be a dance party. I know for a fact there are going to be multiple bars where it'll be much more acceptable, where it will be actually appropriate to the venue and the other people around you. Yeah, like, okay, Critical Ox, a circle jerk in the middle of the street during the Pride party? No. Like, that kind of shit is unacceptable. You need to consider more than yourself. You need to consider the optics of something, because there are appropriate times and places. And again, this is not to yuck anybody's yum. But if you decide to go out just fully cheeked up, just with a string bikini, bulge hanging out, I do not judge you for this. But if you are dressed down to the point where you almost have like hole visible, and you are in a public space where there are going to be children walking close to you, where you're going to be waiting in line for food, and families are going to be in the same line, it is inappropriate, and it does nothing to benefit you or anyone around you. Kink is an integral part of Pride. It has always been a massive part of the queer and LGBTQ plus community. It is important not to forget that. But kink is also not for everyone. So if you want to celebrate kink, you need to do it in a way that is acceptable. You need to cover up just a little bit more. You do not engage, by the way, in any kind of like kink play in a place that is going to make other people uncomfortable. This is an important thing I don't think a lot of people get. Because, yeah, astromorph, basic rules of consent. I don't think a lot of people understand that if you engage, by the way, say you start spanking a partner or something in public. They have a humiliation kink or something. You are not respecting the consent of everybody around you. If you are in a Pride event and it is not specifically sexual, it is not specifically kink-oriented. You are, in fact, violating the consent of people who did not sign up and did not agree to either be exposed to that themselves and may be uncomfortable, or, more embarrassingly for the community, exposing minors to that. These are things you need to think through. This is not Folsom, right? Where Folsom is, for those who don't know, it is a nude street fair in, I believe, San Francisco. That is very sexual. A lot of people go there for public play and public kink. Again, there are places to go. If you want that kind of stuff, if you want that treatment, there are places to go. But time and place are incredibly important.